Morning all, and today we are going to discuss about locks and locking protocols. So I have taken this concept from RDBMS Himalaya material. Even I have forwarded that material to you in the group, so you can check it out in that, the fourth unit, locks and locking protocols. So the content is a bit easy to understand in this book as compared with the CR material. So I am going with this. So first one is locks and locking protocols. What is the basic meaning of a lock? We'll see here. So database systems usually allow multiple transactions to run concurrently. So by allowing multiple transactions to run concurrently will improve the performance of the system in terms of improved response time, but it allows several complications with consistency of the data. Hence, it is necessary to maintain the order of execution of those transactions. In addition, it shouldn't disturb the ACID properties of a transaction. So one of the main technique used in control concurrency execution of transaction is locking the data items. So a lock is nothing but it's a variable which is associated with a data item in the database. Data item in the sense it can be a column, it can be a row, or it can be any page, or it can be any table, whatever it might be, anything. Every data item, it can be any data item on which you are providing a lock. In the last class we discussed how many ways we can lock. So there are, under lock granularity we have seen we can lock in 5 ways, either database lock, table lock, page lock, column lock and row lock. So these are the 5 locks what we have. So in these, using these 5 locks we can lock any item. Okay. So a lock is a variable which is associated with a data item in the database, and it describes the status of that data item with respect to possible operations that can be applied to that item. So what it will tell is, so whether that item is free or not, or what kind of operations we can perform on that item. So here we can perform only 2 operations, either read operation or write operation. We will have only 2. So either you want to read the value of that particular item, or you want to update the value to that item. So there are the 2 transactions what we can perform, that is read operation and write operation. So read operation is executed to retrieve the value, write operation is executed to insert, update or delete the values. So the locks or read and write operations may behave differently. So different transactions can perform read operations on the same data item. It may not affect the database much. If the value of that data item is constant, it can be read by any number of transactions at any given of time. Write operation is something different. When a transaction writes some value into a data item, the content of the data item remains an inconsistent state, starting from the moment when the writing operation begins up to the moment writing operation is over. See, I will tell you the basic difference between read and write. Whenever you are performing read operation, it won't affect on the value what you have read. With the, by using if you are working on read operation, simply you are reading the content, so it won't affect much on the database. But when we are writing operations, then you are updating the value what you have in that particular database. So for example, 3 transactions are performing write operation on a same value. In that point, it may be a inconsistent data. Okay na? So if you want to write something, first of all you have to read something, right? So transaction 1, transaction 2, transaction 3, if these 3 transactions are working simultaneously, then you can get an ambiguity situation. For example, I will tell you, for example, in your account 3 persons are going to deposit that amount. X, Y, Z are the 3 people. They want to deposit 10 rupees into your account concurrently, in the sense simultaneously. So if the system will take first come first serve. So for example, at the same time 2 people want to access your value, they want to read and it should be updated into your content. So initially you have 50 rupees. So all the 2 people, if they deposited amount into your account simultaneously in the same time, so it should be actually 50 plus 10 plus 10. So total value to be 70. Okay. But in some situations it may be 60. Why? Because whatever the last transaction which has occurred, that is updated, but the previous transaction isn't updated. So in this case we will face some problems at the time of write operations. We won't get any conflict with read operations. So that is the basic difference between write and read. When we are reading a value, it won't be a problem, but when we are problem when we have to face a problem when we are working on write operation. Okay, so a locking protocol is a set of rules followed by a transaction while requesting and releasing the locks. The simple rule for locking can be derived from here. So if a transaction is reading the content of a shareable data item, then any number of other processes can be allowed to read the content of the same data type. But if any transaction is writing into any shareable data item, then no other transaction will be allowed to read or write that same data. Okay, if anyone are reading that data, then any other transaction can read it, but whenever it is performing write operation, no one can read and no one can write. Okay, so there are two types of locks. One is binary lock, another one is exclusive and shared lock. So in the last class already we have discussed about binary locks. Here we have only 1 and 0. So here the binary system will go with 0 will tell you that it is free, and 1 will indicate that particular data item is already locked. So in binary locking, if data item is locked by a transaction, no other transactions can be used that data item. If an item is unlocked, any transaction can lock that item for its use. Every database operation requires that the affected data item to be locked. So a transaction must unlock the data item after its termination. So once its operations are done, immediately it has to unlock that particular data item so that some other transactions can access that data item. It should be available for other transactions to access that data item. So whenever your performance is done, whenever your operations are done, immediately you have to release that lock on that particular item. Here, if it is locked, value will be 1.
Explain cheyra fast helipothunaru.
Oh, endukante ఇది already I have explained you, that's why I am going a bit fast. Already in the last class I explained this binary lock, right? Okay, I'll go, no problem. From where I have to explain again? Shravya, tell me please, from where I have to explain again? From starting?
No sir, from not starting.
Binary locks.
Binary
locks. So already we have learned a binary lock. So here binary locks, in the sense they will have only two values, 1 and 0, right? Binary system, already we are aware of binary system, right? So system can understand only binary language, they will have only 0 and 1. Here in binary locking, if data item is locked by a transaction, for example, if any data item is locked by a transaction, no other transaction can use that data item. వేరే ఐటమ్ ఏది దాన్ని యాక్సెస్ చేయడానికి ఛాన్స్ లేదు ఎప్పటి వరకు, అంటిల్ అండ్ అన్లెస్ that data item is unlocked. If it is unlocked, then we can access it. Okay, so as a rule, a transaction must unlock the data item after its termination. So a rule entante every transaction must unlock that data item once the transaction is completed. Therefore other transactions requires a lock and unlock operations for each data item that is accessed. Such operations are automatically managed and scheduled by the DBMS. So under this we have only two values. If it is 1, the code is 1, you have to assume that is locked. If the code is 0, you have to assume that is unlocked. So locked item, a transaction requests access to an item by using a lock of X operation. If lock of X equal to 1, the transaction is forced to wait. If lock of X equal to 0, it is set to 1 and the transaction is loaded into access item X. So once you are requesting for lock on X, first immediately it will check the status of that X. If that X is 1, then it has to wait until some other operation has to release that X. If that X is 0, then immediately the value will be updated to 1 and you can perform the transaction. Okay na? Got the point? That is lock item. Next, unlock item. After using the data item, if the transaction, once the transaction is done, then the transaction issues an operation unlock X. So unlock X in the sense which sets the operation lock X to 0. That is unlocks the data item so that X may be accessed by any other transaction. So మనం లాక్ చేయొచ్చు, అన్లాక్ చేయొచ్చు. లాకింగ్ అంటే if that is available, if that data item is available to access, then we will update the value to 1 and we can access that item. Okay, once your operations, once your transaction is completed, then immediately you have to unlock and you have to set that status of that particular data item to 0 so that some other people can access it. Is it okay? I need a response.
Yeah, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right. Next, rules for binary lock. A transaction T must issue the lock X operation before any read or write operations in T. A transaction T must issue lock X operation before read or write. See, if you want to perform any operation, first of all you have to lock that item. Okay, once you have locked, then no other transactions can access it. And a transaction must issue unlock of X operation after all read and write operations are done. ఓకేనా, ఈ 2 పాయింట్స్ అర్థమైనాయా? ఫస్ట్ 2 పాయింట్స్, మీరు ఏదైనా ఒక డేటా ఐటమ్ని రీడ్ చేయాలన్నా రైట్ చేయాలన్నా ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు పాస్ లాక్ అనే ఫంక్షన్ని మీరు పాస్ చేయాలి. సో యూ హ్యావ్ టు మెన్షన్ విచ్ డేటా ఐటమ్ యూ వాంట్ టు లాక్. సో విత్ ద హెల్ప్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ లాక్ ఆపరేషన్ the database will lock that item for transaction. Okay, after completion of the transaction it should pass unlock function, it should call unlock function so that that lock will be released and it is available for other transactions to access. Okay, if a transaction T already holds the lock on item X, then T will not issue lock X operation. ఆల్రెడీ ఒక ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ ఎక్స్ని లాక్ చేసి ఉన్నప్పుడు ఇంకొక ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ మీద మనం లాక్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్స్ మనం వాడలేము. ఇఫ్ ఏ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ డజంట్ హోల్డ్ ద లాక్ ఆన్ ఎక్స్, దెన్ టీ విల్ నాట్ ఇష్యూ అండ్ అన్లాక్. ఆల్రెడీ లాక్ లేనప్పుడు అన్లాక్ చేయలేం కదా, ఆల్రెడీ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఇన్ అన్లాక్, సో వీ కాంట్ అన్లాక్ ఇట్. అండ్ సమ్ అదర్ హోల్డ్స్ ఎ లాక్ ఆన్ ఎక్స్, at the same time you can't apply again lock function on X. Okay, so here we can see an example here, transaction 0, transaction 1. So transaction 0 has requested lock on X. Once it is locked, then it can perform write operation, immediately it is unlocked. Once X is unlocked, then transaction 1 can access that X by applying lock. It has read X and immediately unlock X, and it is working on Y, so it took lock on Y, it performed read operation and immediately it has unlocked Y. In T0, once it is unlocked, then T0 has got a lock on Y, it performs the read operation, write operation and finally it unlocks Y. Y has released. ఈ టేబుల్ అర్థమైందా? If lock T0 is already holds a lock on X, T1 can't access this lock, it has to wait until T0 has completed. So T1 has waited until T0 has to release that lock, then immediately T1 got the lock on X. Okay, so this is a simple binary locking system. Next, second one what we have is shared locks and exclusive shared locks. So the binary lock is too restrictive for data items because at most one transaction can hold on a given item whether the transaction is reading or writing. To improve this, shared and exclusive locks are introduced in which more than one transaction can access the same item for reading purpose, only for reading purpose. Observe, see, for example, in binary system I have a lock on X, okay, and T1 want to read that X value, then it is not possible. Okay, if it is reading and again T1 also want to read that same X, it is not possible. Once it holds the lock, until and unless it releases the lock, T0 has released the lock, any other transaction can't have a lock on that particular item. So this is not possible in binary logs. So that is a default, that is a drawback of binary logs. So to overcome that, we have shared logs or exclusive logs. So what is shared log here? It is also called as read lock. So shared lock exists when two transactions are granted read access. One transaction gets the shared lock on data item and then the second transaction requests the same data. It is also given a shared lock. Both transactions are in read only mode. They can't perform any other operations. Updating the data is not allowed until the shared lock is released. There is no conflict with the shared lock because nothing being is updated. So have you understood this paragraph? I am giving
Yes, sir.
shareability on a single item, single data item, two different transactions, but they can perform only read operation. When they will perform read operation, there is no conflict. So we can give a shared lock for different transactions on an item only for read operations. So if a transaction 0 has locked the data item X on shared mode, then a request from another transaction T1 can't do write operation on X. Transaction T1 has to wait until transaction T0 unlocks X, but read operation on A is allowed by T1. Sorry, it is on X. Read operation on X is allowed by T1. Already X is held by T0. It is performing, it is in a shared mode. So T1 can read that X, but T1 can't update X. That is shared lock. Next, exclusive lock. If a lock is acquired on data item to perform write operation, it is exclusive lock. Suppose transaction T2 would like to update the data item X in the database, then an exclusive lock is issued for T2 over that item X. This means T2, only T2 can operate on this particular information, since exclusive locks can be granted once at a time. Other transaction must be forced to wait and no other locks can be applied on the same information. So when you want to perform write operation, you have to take exclusive lock. When you want to perform read operation, instead of taking exclusive lock, better to take shared lock. Clear? Shared lock is maximum generally used for reading operation. It can't be used for writing operation. But if you want to perform write operation, better to go with exclusive lock. So this item is exclusively available only for that transaction which holds this lock. ఒకవేళ T1 తీసుకుంటే అది ఓన్లీ T1 కి మాత్రమే ఉంటుంది తప్ప అదర్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ దే కాంట్ పర్ఫామ్ ఈవెన్ రీడ్ ఆపరేషన్ ఆల్సో. ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు పర్ఫామ్ ఎనీ అదర్ ఆపరేషన్, దే హ్యావ్ టు వెయిట్ అంటిల్ T1 హ్యాస్ రిలీజ్ ద లాక్. సో దీనికి రూల్స్ ఏమున్నాయి? ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ T1 షుడ్ ఎయిదర్ పర్ఫామ్ ఏ రీడ్ లాక్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్స్ ఆర్ రైట్ లాక్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్స్ బిఫోర్ రీడింగ్ ద ఐటమ్ ఎక్స్. దాన్ని రీడ్ కానీ రైట్ కానీ చేయాలి అంటే ఫస్ట్ దాని మీద ఒక లాక్ అయితే తీసుకోవాలి. నెక్స్ట్, ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ T1 షుడ్ పర్ఫామ్ రైట్ లాక్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్స్ బిఫోర్ స్టార్ట్ రైటింగ్ ఆర్ అప్డేటింగ్ ద ఐటెమ్. సో రీడ్ చేయాలన్నా రీడ్ లాక్ తీసుకోవాలి, రైట్ చేయాలన్నా రైట్ లాక్ తీసుకోవాలి. నెక్స్ట్, ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ T1 షుడ్ ఫినిష్ ద ప్రాసెస్ బై పెర్ఫార్మింగ్ అన్ అన్లాక్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్స్. ఇది ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత ఇమీడియట్లీ ఇట్ హ్యాస్ టు పెర్ఫార్మ్ దిస్ ఆపరేషన్, దట్ ఈస్ అన్లాక్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్స్. ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ T1 can't issue new lock on item X if it is already shared or exclusively locked. ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ T1 can't issue new lock. దీని మీద వేరే లాక్ మనం ఇవ్వడానికి ఛాన్స్ లేదు. ఆల్రెడీ ఒకవేళ అది షేర్లో ఉన్న ఎక్స్క్లూజివ్లో ఉన్న we can't issue a new lock on T1 on X. As a conclusion, data locking is extremely important to have consistent and reliable data. So we shouldn't have any deadlock situation. It shouldn't occur For that purpose we are approaching this locking mechanisms. So ఇప్పుడు మీకు షేర్డ్ లాక్ ఎక్స్క్లూజివ్ లాక్ వర్క్ అర్థమైందా? How to lock a data item. If you want to perform either read operation or write operation, first of all you have to take some locks on that particular data item. The locks can be shared lock or exclusive lock. Yeah, and then we have one more locking mechanism. So today we'll finish it off this by this two-phase locking, and I'll forward the links, YouTube links of these two in your group, okay, with the complete explanation on notes. I'll share with you people. So next is two-phase locking protocol. In database transaction processing system, two-phase locking is a concurrency control protocol. What is concurrent execution? What is the meaning of concurrent execution? Simultaneously, if you want to perform two operations or two transactions, that is considered as concurrency execution or concurrency control. So it guarantees the serializability. This protocol utilizes locks applied by a transaction to data, which will block other transactions from accessing the same data during the transaction's time. Two-phase locking protocol doesn't ensure freedom for deadlocks. So here we don't have any chance to face a situation that is called deadlock. So we'll see what it will be. What are the two phases we have? First one is growing phase, second one is shrinking phase. So that's why we call it as two-phase locking. So in this mechanism we have two phases. One is growing phase, another one is shrinking phase. What is the meaning of growing phase? It is increasing. Shrinking in the sense it is decreasing. So growing phase in the sense a transactions may obtain locks but may not release any lock. So continuous గా లాక్ చేసుకుంటూ వెళ్ళిపోతుంటాయి. సో దాన్ని మనం గ్రోయింగ్ అంటాం. Once you start unlocking the resources, that is called shrinking state. Once you start locking the transactions, locking the data items, that is growing phase. Once you are started releasing the transaction, that is shrinking phase. Once the shrinking phase has started, you can't hold lock on any item. అన్నీ కంప్లీట్గా మనం అన్లాక్ చేసుకోవటం స్టార్ట్ చేస్తే మళ్ళీ మనం వెయిట్ మీద మనం లాక్ తీసుకోలేము. Once you released all the transaction, then only you can go with again lock. So in two-phase locking, a transaction locks a data item before using it. When an object is locked by another transaction, requesting transaction must wait. When a transaction releases a lock, it may not request another lock on the data item. ఒకసారి ఒక దాని మీద లాక్ ఉంది అంటే కనుక it shouldn't request lock on the same item by another transaction. సో ఇక్కడ మనకి 3 types of locks ఉన్నాయి. కన్జర్వేటివ్ 2PL, స్ట్రిక్ట్ two-phase locking and rigorous two-phase locking. సో వీటి మీద మనం ఒక చిన్న ఎగ్జాంపుల్ చూద్దాం. ఇక్కడ ఫస్ట్ I have took lock A, B, C. ఇనిషియల్గా మనం లాక్ తీసుకుంటూ వెళ్తాం. సో దట్ phase is called growing phase or locking phase. Once you start releasing the resources, then this is called lock point, and from that lock point your shrinking phase will start. Once you started unlocking the transactions, in the between you can't take any lock. సో ఒకసారి లాక్స్ అన్నీ వచ్చేసిన తర్వాత దాన్ని మనం గ్రోయింగ్ ఫేజ్ అంటాం. Once growing phase is done, once all the transactions are done, then you have to unlock all the transactions. Once the unlocking procedure has started, that is called lock point, and from lock point you started releasing the resources. So this phase is called shrinking phase. ఈ రెండింటి మధ్య డిఫరెన్స్ అర్థమైందా? గ్రోయింగ్ ఫేజ్, షరింకింగ్ ఫేజ్. హలో, పడన్ వాయిస్ కట్ అవుతుంది. వాయిస్ కట్ అవుతుంది. ఓకే, డన్. సో దిస్ ఈజ్ ద థింగ్. వన్స్ we are accessing the locks, it will grow like this. Once it reaches to the lock point, lock time. From here you have started releasing the resources. So this is shrinking state and it is growing phase. There are number of locks. Clear? ఒకసారి ఇది షింకింగ్ స్టార్ట్ అయిందంటే మళ్ళీ గ్రోయింగ్ అనేది ఉండదు. వన్స్ యూ కంప్లీట్ ఆల్, వన్స్ యూ రిలీజ్ ఆల్ ద డేటా ఐటమ్స్, దెన్ ఓన్లీ అనదర్ ఫేజ్ విల్ స్టార్ట్, అనదర్ గ్రోయింగ్ ఫేజ్ విల్ స్టార్ట్. సో దిస్ ఈజ్ 2-phase locking. ఓకేనా? సో విల్ వైండ్ అప్ ద క్లాస్ టుడే here itself, and we'll see what is deadlock and how to overcome these deadlocks in the next class. Okay, so you just tell me if you have any doubts till here.